Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/INTB and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's easy. Go to audibletrial.com/INTB.
Honestly, they're not that bad.
Welcome to a new episode of It's Not That Bad Podcast. I am Fern here with Dom.
Hey, everybody.
So this is day 69 of quarantine?
It's not 420 yet?
I don't think so. But I think everybody has already lost their minds.
Oh, yeah.
I understand to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe I just got used to kind of being by myself and enjoying being alone and it being fine having to be stuck in my room. Maybe it just hits different for me, but it feels like everyone else seems to just like not know what to do. And so in this way, they're like, well, yes, we have a pandemic. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does keep growing. Doesn't seem to be slowing down. And our government has just been slightly trying to make things better. I better go out for a hike. I mean, I don't usually hike or anything, but I think I should just go out for a hike.
Well, I think it sucks to be in a state where, like, they won't lock it down. They consider spas, nail salons, and golf courses to be essential businesses.
Well, yeah, duh. What are you going to do? Just be home and not do that stuff? Yeah, this, like, honestly, the good thing about what's going on is that it is starting to show more to a wider population of, like, things that
are wrong.
Are wrong or that you should be questioning. Right?
Yeah, things that we've been questioning the whole time. Everyone's been...
Yeah, where you believe in this, or this, and everyone's like, oh, that's just politics, or that, oh, you're just being biased. And now it's like, oh, well...
Hey,
yeah, you kind of have a point, but, like, I still want to be hard-headed about it.
Hey, did you know that our health care system is, like, in need of, like big repair, and, like basic people can't even get, like, health care right now, like, even to get tested? It's like, oh, you mean, like, all the past ever? Like, that's how it's been this whole time. Yeah. Like, and you guys just, because you now get to see it because all these, it's starting to affect you now. That means that, now you're like, now we need to fix it now. It's like, you should have fixed it a long time ago.
Or, like, the whole unemployment, all the benefits and stuff. Mm-hmm. Everyone's complaining, like, well, they're not telling me how to do this, so I don't get how to do this, and why is this so difficult, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, it's weird how, because you need food stamps, it should be easy, right?
Yeah.
But back not even a year ago, you're saying, well, poor people need a test to get drugged every single month.
Yeah. And
they need to only get this much money, and blah, blah, blah. But, now it's different because it's a pandemic, and blah, blah, blah.
Why should it be different?
Because, like, normal people like me wouldn't normally get it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so funny, but it feels almost like satirical in a way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, those workers in the grocery stores and stuff, they need to stop complaining because they're the ones who, like, have to help everybody, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, the ones that you think don't deserve a livable wage? Mm-hmm. It's different because it's a pandemic.
That's what my sister was saying. Like, hopefully now, after this is done, people will, like, take a look at these jobs that, like, they always wrote off because they're like, well, that's what they have to get those jobs because look at, like, it's a minimum. Like, there's not even that much work. I'm a CEO. I know how much work goes into, like, running a company. Okay, and it's
you know how many hours I have to sit behind my desk and wait for other people to come in and tell me what to do?
2 hours.
Yeah. It's hard.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe this is, like, we'll look back and we'll be like, in like 20 years, and we'll be like, maybe it was a good thing Donald Trump was elected and that we had this huge pandemic, because then we finally got the change that we needed. Or we'll look back in 20 years and be like, we still didn't do anything about it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Honestly, I don't think a lot's going to change unless the time frame of this virus thing lasts. Because people are already pushing to try to get out to go back to normal, right? Even though people keep saying, hey guys, cases aren't dying.
Yeah.
Like, they keep getting bigger, and we're trying to tell you to stay home so we can, curve that number. Instead, we can have 1,000 people die in your city instead of having like tens of thousands of people die in your city. People are still like, well, yeah, but I mean, I haven't got sick. And so, like, why should I stay home? Because, like, everyone else is boring, and I just need to go back to the bar and hang out. And, like, I need to go to restaurants. And, like, I'm not boring, guys.
It's funny because it's, like, it's true what they say, like, oh, this is the introverts, like, time to shine. Because it's like, yeah, because, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm introverted. I wouldn't say I'm extrovert. I think I'm somewhere in between, because when you come from, like, a bigger family and, like, some people get ignored, you usually can, like, be like, okay, I guess I'll go do something by myself. And so, obviously, as a little kid, like, there'd be times where, I mean, I made up things in my head. That's probably why I'm good at, like, coming up with, like, at least, like, basic stories.
Yeah,
like,
you're always trapping pigeons
Yeah.
in your house and saying, they're my friends.
Yeah.
They're just my friends.
Yeah, all these, all of them. But, yeah, like, I mean, like, to me, like, if they told me, like, to say, as long as I, like, had, like, the essential, like, hey, stuff to make and stuff, I'm good with, like, staying inside. Like, yeah, I might get a little restless because it's like, oh, I want to do this or do that, but am I okay with, like, cutting people out?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I do get it, right? It sucks not being able to do this, just the small things like we talked about.
Yeah.
Going to the movies. It's such a simple, easy thing to do that we used to be able to do. Remember movie theaters? Remember how they're going to die?
Movie theater?
So, I get it, but it's just like the severity of the situation just seems to be growing without people understanding that, hey, it's only growing because we're not taking precautions to make it smaller. And I feel like because that the ideas of things getting better might not happen, because then the people are still going to be like, yeah, but a pandemic's different. Like, it's just going to come and go. So why pay these grocery workers the same amount we're paying whatever person they want to say that they're paying, and their job's more, and it's like, okay, well then pay the other person more too.
Yeah.
No, because then you're just gonna be making as much as me, and like, I'm special and I'm important, and so no one should be making as much. I mean, yeah, I'm at home, and no one's counting on me, and I'm not essential in any way, but like, they need to be doing the jobs, not me, and they shouldn't get money for it. Okay. But I feel like that would curve. I know this is bad, and I technically don't want it to happen, but I think it should. As if this pandemic thing gets worse and these shutdowns have to last longer, because then people will be like, wait, but it's summer. We can't just go outside anymore? It's like, no, because it's getting worse. You remember how you said, oh, it's under 1,000 deaths? Yeah, how does 1,000,000 sound? Yeah, it's starting to terrify you now, right? And it's like, yeah, exactly, because you guys aren't taking this shit seriously. Just take it a little bit more seriously and you'll be fine. But I do feel like that yin and yang, where if that does happen, maybe their whole like out view on life might change a bit, where they'll be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Like, it's crazy that we have these like prison complexes and they have to take care of these prisoners who are already supposed to be dangerous, and yet they're not given like any medical supplies to like take care of themselves.
Yeah, everything is just like, I don't know.
It's weird.
It really is. Like, the old people that tipped me like $50 yesterday, I was talking to them about how, like, oh, I'm going to start a new job at doing like medical billing stuff, right? And that they it's basically like they normally wouldn't hire me, but because they like really need people really bad, they're just kind of like foregoing like the like, oh yeah, you went to school for this type of thing,
Yeah.
which might turn out, I don't know, but basically like the lady's just like, yeah, I don't know, all this like pandemic stuff. It's like it's changing everything. Like it's crazy. It's like old people saying it's changing things and they're not like happy about it. Yeah, maybe this is a good thing.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully this does, like I said, you have to be able to see the light in the dark, right?
Yeah.
You have to see the other side of the tunnel. And I think that if this tunnel ride is long enough, that the end of the tunnel will be something that people want to grasp towards harder. So that change will happen where you'll start to see these things come into effect more. And hopefully maybe this will curve the presidential election where they're like, oh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do what we've been doing this whole time.
Yeah.
And try to put a rapist against a rapist.
Yeah.
But really, like, we're technically still in the beginning stages of all this.
Yeah.
I still believe there's places in America that are like, no, we're not going to stop. But, you know, just, like I said, just keep washing your hands. Keep wiping your guys' ass. You need to not stop wiping your guys' ass. And, yeah, just be smart and, you know, like, stay the fuck inside your house.
Yeah.
Our podcast is literally about watching shit where you can see now new releases that are coming to theaters. You got your Netflixes and your Hulus. Look at all you Apple stands have a whole fucking network now. You guys can, you know,
you've got
suck their teat on.
you got the morning show, right? Is that what's called, morning show? And you've got
the other one.
that other, and then you've got
the other one too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Come on, you have a lot of entertainment, and if not, then find a new hobby. Just stay home. That's all you have to do.
This is the fucking news.
So Variety revealed that George Miller had met with The Witch's Anya Taylor-Joy about starring in his upcoming Mad Max Fury Road prequel. This would be in addition to a direct sequel to Fury Road, presumably bringing back Tom Hardy as the desert driving warrior Mad Max Rockatansky. I didn't know that was his last name. Rockatansky. The same article mentioned that Miller had been auditioning via Skype in the hopes of beginning shooting next year, confirming that the prequel is underway. So it's not like, we heard George Miller's going to be doing a prequel. The biggest reason to be excited about Taylor-Joy is she's one of the most exciting actors working right now. From The Witch, Split, Glass, to Thoroughbreds. Honestly, she's a prime pick for an action badass surviving in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's incredibly exciting to see Taylor-Joy and Miller possibly team up.
And then there's gonna be a sequel
to Fury Road. Yeah, so it'll just be Mad Max, whatever, down the road. I mean, I was never a huge like Mad Max fan until this one. Actually, I think this is the only one I've actually seen. But yeah, I don't know. Like,
I mean, we already know how amazing Anya Taylor-Joy is, and you're not wrong about Mad Max and whatever. It was something that I've seen before, but it never really, I don't know, clicked, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it before, where sometimes I could watch classic, iconic movies and be like, yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I watch them and be like, yeah, but they're kind of old. Like, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just being spoiled from modern cinema, which that happens with this last Mad Max. You take something so simple as like these desert clans or whatever, right? But then you actually have the ability to make them look, I don't know, realistic and cool and weird and awesome and entertaining. And just that, all it really was just time that made it that much different. And yeah, maybe, a not Mel Gibson. But the last one, definitely for me at least, was my favorite because it was It was something I didn't expect to really like. I thought I was gonna watch it and be like, oh yeah, that's cool, I guess. Like the other movies, it's like, yeah, I've seen them before.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't know, it was way better than I think we imagined.
Yeah.
And so having, I guess, like a similar thing go on with that prequel and stuff. I mean, we kind of got some previous backstory, I guess.
I think what it would explore is like basically how Immortan Joe came to be. I think would probably be what it would be about. I don't know. But I assume we would explore like his rise, right, or something. Yeah.
And it's also cool because I guess like in a weird way, it started off with this, but then it went this direction. So in the future, you could essentially just be like, oh yeah, the classic Mad Maxes, they exist, but you could focus on just this new era.
And I think it goes to like what we've talked about like with Star Wars and Marvel expanding the universe, right? We get to see things that we didn't know we wanted.
Well, I mean, I did bring this up before, where the idea of like expanded universes, or whatever, always intrigued me. And having something like this, like I told you, where I could watch something like The Walking Dead, and in my head I'm like, yeah, but what's going on in Japan?
That's what, yeah.
You know, like I wonder what they're you know what I mean? Like I always think of shit like that, and I'm not saying that we're gonna get this in this movie.
Yeah.
But the idea of you already seeing this whole thing happen with Mad Max, like from the first movie, technically the first movie, until like what it is today, you've seen that decline. So it would be interesting to see like, oh, there's a whole different person that we're going to see from closer to the beginning.
Yeah.
And see how that whole thing started. You know what I mean? And it's cool. Like shit like that is cool because just the idea of expanding something doesn't mean that you're getting rid of the original. Like just because the 3 Star Wars movies that you loved once are now branched off into 100 different branches doesn't mean that the original didn't exist. So I'm already a fan of that.
Yeah.
As is. And taking 2 things that we already love, putting them together and saying like, hey, this is going to be something. I hope people don't automatically the first one only worked because of Mad Max. Like, what's her name? And it was only just like a part of it, even though it was technically her movie.
The movie was basically her movie. They just it was just Mad Max because it's basically set in the Mad Max universe. So
hopefully that doesn't happen with this. I feel maybe to an extent it might, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's worrying, but it's exciting. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So Cinemark CEO Mark Zorati and the theater chain's board of directors are foregoing their entire salaries for the time being amid the coronavirus epidemic. Cinemark is also mandating deep pay reductions for all U.S. corporate employees, the company said this past week. Like Zorati, other top executives working for the country's third largest theater circuit are voluntarily taking steep pay cuts while maintaining full workloads in order to support the company in this time of crisis. Zorati wrote in an email to staff, among the rank and file, employees will work reduced hours and make no more than 50% of their salary. At the same time, they will maintain full benefits. Cinemark's priority as it navigates through this uncertainty is to ensure that the company will be able to once again open theaters and employ our global team members. He continued to look forward to the day. I look forward to the day in the hopefully not too distant future where Cinemark team can once again welcome guests and enjoy the immersive movie-going experience we offer at our theaters. Cinemark's balance sheet is more stable than its 2 rivals in terms of debt, providing the circuit some cushion. Late last week, AMC announced it was instituting a 4-loan plan for its entire staff, including CEO Adam Aron. In related news, Disney has joined the list of companies implementing sizable pay cuts for their senior executives amid the upheaval caused by the coronavirus crisis. Bob Iger, who shifted from chairman CEO to executive chairman last month, has opted to forego his salary for the year. Bob Chapek, who succeeds Iger as CEO, has taken a 50% pay cut. Disney outlined the changes in a memo to staffers sent Monday morning. Chapek stated, in a matter of weeks, we've experienced widespread distribution against our company, with our domestic parks and hotels closed indefinitely, our cruise line suspended, our film and TV production halted, and theatrical distribution delayed both domestically and internationally, and our retail stores shut down. While I'm confident we will get through this challenging period together and emerge even stronger, we must take necessary steps to manage the short and long-term financial impact on our company. Iger's annual compensation has become a source of criticism for Disney at times, given the high value of the Disney shares that he has collected over the long tenure at the company, and the larger focus among some activists on CEO pay. In 2019, Iger's compensation package totaled $48 million, largely in stock and bonuses tied to the company's strong performance.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's taking a 1 year pay cut, or pay, not any pay for 1 year.
One thing I didn't really think about, I guess, was their idea is trying not to lay off as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
But like, what happens when everything reopens and some of these people out here aren't going to go back to their old jobs?
Well, that's what one thing is, unemployment has skyrocketed. Obviously, like, people aren't able to go to work, so they need to pay their bills. So they're like, okay, well, if you think about that, like, okay, so even if these people come back, they're getting smaller checks because we still have a system where if you're getting employee-sponsored healthcare, they're having to forego those payments till you start getting paid again. And then they diminish so then your checks, yeah, you're making money again, but those checks are smaller. So it's like you still can't do anything. You gotta, like, it's just, it boggles my mind that, like, people don't see, like, the bigger picture, and, like, they don't look ahead towards anything. And it's like, yeah, but even if they open theaters again, like, is it going to be enough, though, where they're like, yeah, we have all our full staff still, but it's like, but we don't need you guys here as much. There's still not enough people here to justify having everyone here. And then normal companies cut from the bottom up instead of the top down.
That's what, like, in this picture, it seems like it's good, right? Where Disney, and they're like, oh, we're going to cut all this, blah, 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 whatever, right? But the thing is, that's only temporary for them.
Yeah.
When everything comes back...
Oh, all of them are going to get they're probably not only going to get their full pay, but probably they're going to reemburse them for taking
back
the cut.
pay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, yeah, we know that we have to cut your percentage, and that 25% that you weren't getting paid, we'll just pay you back.
We just won't give a raise this year for anyone.
But what about the person who works at the Disney park for 15 years and, like, oh no, you'll have a job when you come back.
Well, what we could do is we could tell those people that they're getting early retirement. We offer them, like, a little package deal. And then we can hire 3 employees for the same price we were paying them.
Exactly. See? Business.
And it's like, no, this is why letting capitalism run wild is not good.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I know this keeps turning into, like, this shit, but it's because it's crazy how this stuff is still... Like,
I know.
We love movie theaters. We love the whole, like, cinema thing. But we can't seem to look away when it's like, yeah, you're looking towards the future, but the future isn't changing for us. People still want us to pay our phone bills and our insurances and our rent and all this stuff, right? Even though technically not a lot of people are working.
Yeah.
And our government is telling us, well, I mean, some people are working, so just figure it out like them. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and it ripples through the whole thing, because if Disney can't pay their employees, right? So the productions that they're involved in, they can't pay those productions. Those people who are part of the whatever production team that this is can't get paid from that. Like, it spirals out of control, because now it's like, you have all these people who work on sets every day, right? That's what they do. That's their livelihood. Now they can't even do it. And then also they have other things to pay too. Like most of these people live in LA and New York, right? So it's like their cost of living is skyrocketing each year. And it's like it just completely destroys this one. Just think about, so it's just this one industry. Think about how many different industries out there are there.
Yeah. I mean, something just came out. They're saying that some of these restaurants are going to be closed forever. Mm-hmm. Because right now it just seems like, oh yeah, it's trying times, but when things get back open, you're right. They're going to have to start worrying about paying people again, about, bringing in more food to have more business, but they can't afford that. They can barely afford to stay open now. And some people that have to close now thinking that they could reopen later, who knows like what's going to happen with their rent and like that. Exactly. So from far away, it seems good, right? And technically to a point it is, where like we said, with Cinemark, they're looking at the future of like, hey, if we just don't get paid right now, we can stay afloat until the movies start opening, because they're probably looking at their overhead and saying, okay, wow, this is how many movie theaters we have. And this is probably about the amount of staff that we're going to have to be able to have, whatever, right? Blah, blah, blah. But that can only go so far for so long. Yes, I'll praise the CEO of Cinemark for not getting paid for this year or whatever, right? Yeah. But that's just for this year. There's a reason why people like that are in those positions, because they're looking to get their money back.
Oh, yeah.
And in a world where, like you said, where people have to go to unemployment just to get by, in order for them to say like, yeah, but see, this money's not free. So, I mean, I know like you guys keep saying that unemployment's free and that people like to, mooch off the government, but actually we make you pay everything back. And
I think that's another problem with, in other countries, like people get money from the government all the time. And it's like, for some reason here, we've just built this culture of, you don't take handouts, you don't take money from people, you don't take money from, even though it's like, it's weird because the only people who actually made money were people who took money from other people.
We'll just end it right there, because they're going to get too far into it.
Exactly.
But as much as we can praise these companies for doing that, there's still a problem there that they can't fix. Mm-hmm. That even if Cinemark said, you know what, for this 3-year span, we're all going to take pay cuts if you're X person higher, so we can flatten out this curve for our underemployees to make sure that our movie theaters can stay afloat. In that case, yeah, maybe I'll be like, hey, we're thinking about this all wrong.
Yeah, so then they don't have to take a 50% pay cut, right? Yeah. Like, they can still get their pay still. Yeah. Then that, to me, I would be like, oh, shit. Like, to me, that would be more of a applauding type of thing. Because I'd be like, see, that's a right move.
Yeah. But the thing is, even if a company has that outlook, they have to deal with our government and the way that it works. And it sucks to say, but you have to play by these rules. And even though some of those rules seem like they shouldn't exist right now in this worldwide pandemic, our government's like, hey guys, socialism's bad, but capitalism's gonna win. I mean, don't look at it right now because it's bad, because it's a pandemic. It doesn't count. But other than that,
2020 doesn't count.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Other than that, capitalism always works. I hope that movie theaters stay afloat, and
me too.
I hope that when everything reopens again, the closure of theaters to the opening ones is very small. I'll just say that.
All right, you motherfuckers. I know you in there. Come out right now. Drop the motherfucking plan.
Son of a bitch doesn't have a dick!
He's got a fucking dick! He just got it tucked in!
Identify yourselves, motherfuckers!
I'm Jay, and this my hetero life, mate.
Silent Bob!
Don't tell me you guys have no idea there's a new comic book movie being made of the old comic book movie you two are the basis for.
That old-ass star-studded piece of shit, that movie sucked balls.
Sucked asshole, too.
Your Honor, I object.
I'll allow it. That movie did suck balls and asshole.
We got 3 days to get to Hollywood and stop this reboot from ever happening.
Boys, I had a baby. Jay, brace yourself. You're about to meet our love child.
I think I'm gonna need to see a blood test.
No, Jay. This is my daughter, Millennium Falcon.
Can you take us to Hollywood with you?
Fuck no, man! It's a tough-ass neighborhood.
Either you take us to Hollywood, or I stab you both to death on my own front fucking lawn!
And on that note, we cue the music.
Fuck!
I'm glad you guys are smoking back there. I was driving someone about a week ago, and he took a big shit. You have no idea how hard it is to get the smell out of pleather.
Your methods.
Let's do this.
Fuck!
Yay! It's Jay and Silent Bob.
I just found out I have a kid, but I don't know how to be a father.
Anybody with cum can be a father, but only love can make you a dad.
How you gonna talk about love and you flinging cum all over the place? That shit's unseemly, bro.
What do you guys think about this reboot?
It sucks. There, I said it. And who's directing this shit anyway? Kevin fucking Smith?
Smells like this reboot went up in smoke.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is a 2019 American buddy comedy film written, directed, edited by, and starring Kevin Smith. Jay and Silent Bob, played by Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, lose a court case to Saban Films, who are making a new Bluntman and Chronic film, Bluntman v. Chronic. The two also learn they have lost their naming rights and can no longer self-identify as Jay and Silent Bob. Jay and Bob visit Brody Bruce, played by Jason Lee, who tells them about the Bluntman and Chronic reboot, which is being directed by Kevin Smith. The film is largely completed, but a major scene is to be shot at the annual fan convention, ChronicCon. Jay and Bob have 3 days to get to Los Angeles to stop the film from being completed and win back their identities. The two depart for California. They arrive in Chicago, where Jay learns his former girlfriend, Justice, works as a local weather person. Jay and Bob visit Justice, who tells Jay he left her heartbroken by never visiting her in jail. She has since married and given birth to their love child, Millennium Millie Falcon, played by Harley Quinn Smith. She introduces Jay to their daughter and her best friend, Soapy, played by Trishelle Edmond, but urges him to never reveal his identity to her. Justice leaves for vacation, and Millie forces Jay to take her and Soapy to Hollywood with him and Bob. Millie drugs Jay and Bob with a strong edible, and they wake up on a highway in New Orleans, where they meet Millie's two other friends, Jihad and Shan Yu. They tell Jay that they want to visit ChronicCon because Shan Yu is a huge fan of the first Bluntman and Chronic film, and it is her dream to attend ChronicCon. They steal a van and drive to California. Millie admits to Jay that her bad behavior is attributed to her never knowing her father. Jay and Bob are abandoned by the group and set off in search of the van. They find it in a vacant area where the Ku Klux Klan have kidnapped the girls and are having a rally. Bob steals a Klan hood and passes himself off as the new Grand Dragon to distract them while Jay rescues the girls. They then throw a portable toilet at the Klansmen and flee. The group makes it to ChronicCon and sneak in. Jay and Bob plan to ruin the shoot while the girls want to be extras in the film to fulfill Shan Yu's dream. They agree to part ways, with Jay hugging Millie and letting her know he is proud of her. After attempting to sneak past a familiar security guard, Jay and Bob are pursued throughout the convention. They hide in an empty panel room where they are met by Holden McNeil, played by Ben Affleck, who has just finished recording a podcast with Alyssa Jones, played by Joey Lauren Adams. Holden has donated his sperm to Alyssa and her wife so they may have a child, whom he helps to co-parent. Holden tells Jay that fatherhood gives him a new purpose. This inspires Jay to abort their mission and be a father to Millie. Holden gives them VIP badges, which grants them and the girls access to the panel with Kevin Smith. Noticing that Bob bears a resemblance to Smith, Millie sneaks backstage and knocks out Smith, giving Smith's clothes to Bob as a disguise. They bring Millie and Shanyu on stage to film the scene, but Shanyu sees through their ruse and knocks Bob unconscious, bringing out the real Kevin Smith. Bob is thrown out of the hall and Shanyu reveals herself to be a Russian spy, bent on destroying American pop culture conventions. Jay reveals to Millie that he is her father. Bob regains consciousness outside and steals a large metal Iron Bob suit that was to be used in the filming of the scene. Controlling the suit, Bob incites a riot at the panel and disarms Shanyu and her henchmen. After making their way back home, Jay shows Millie the quick stop and tells her the stories of his and Bob's adventures, including meeting Justice. Dante Hicks, played by Brian O'Halloran, arrives to open the quick stop and bemoans the fact that the steel shutters are once again jammed closed. In a post-credit scene, Jay tells Millie that for the past 25 years, he and Bob have been pranking Dante by jamming gum in the locks.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So, Dom, this is a passion project from a very passionate director. He's very passionate about films.
Is he?
Which I think you might, see eye to eye with. So what did you feel about this movie?
Okay, so, I didn't get to see this movie when it came out, which I think it only had like a limited run in specific theaters in specific areas of specific parts of America. But anyways, I'm a fan of Kevin Smith's View Askew universe or whatever it's called. And you saw this culmination of all of his, these characters that, were only connected really because of, them being set in, New Jersey and having Jay and Silent Bob in it for some reason. And we saw that culmination in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which basically is, a movie about Easter eggs and connections and all this stuff that we always talk about in movies, hey, did you notice that, rib jab jab, but that's the whole movie is literally that. Going into it, I was what is he gonna how is he gonna do it? Is it just gonna be a rehash of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? But honestly, as it started going, I was this is actually pretty good commentary on the state of Hollywood now. We do have a lot of reboots and they're out of ideas too. But yeah, it's also this idea of just think about Kevin Smith okay, you can say whatever you want about him as a director, right? But his movies were made off of Mallrats, this idea of people used to go to the mall to the point where they had people there, they called them Mallrats because they constantly went there. And now look at what it is. It's such a people are what's a mall? Kids these days are what's a mall? And yes, it does hit some of the same beats, but I think he does it he did it in a good way, I think, because it is really a commentary on reboots too, hey, you can't just copy and paste it, you have to give us something new. And that's what he did. And also it's you can see that, I think obviously him having his massive heart attack, but that plays into this. You can tell that this movie was written not to just be a reboot, but also to kind of be a commentary on him being a dad. The whole point is hey, I'm here for you no matter what. And then silly joke, meta joke, get it, wink, 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 nudge. All in all, it's not a great, this is an awesome, great movie. Yeah, there's some flaws here and there, but is it a terrible movie? No.
I definitely wouldn't put it up there with a Dogma.
No.
But knowing that this follows Jay and Silent Bob the movie, yeah, it's perfect for what it is. I thought it was going to be a lot worse, mainly because the idea of rebooting really silly comedies kind of fell apart when Joe Dirt had the second movie.
Yeah.
And I seriously can't even tell you if I seen the whole movie because it was that bad. And that's sad. Yeah, that sucked. And this could have done that too, but it didn't. It actually, you're right. It worked within the realms of a Jay and Silent Bob movie, Kevin Smith movie, a reboot, commentary, like everything about it, just it fit, right? Like everything about it. The meta in this movie works because how much it's playing to real life.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes the jokes are dumb, but the fact that you put it in there is like, oh, yeah, it's funny. Like his daughter saying like, yeah, I heard he puts his fucking daughter in every shitty movie he does. He's like, what a dick.
Yeah.
But it's like that's his type of humor, right?
Yeah.
That's his dad humor.
Yeah.
If you watch him do anything outside of making movies, that's just the kind of like person that he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it is a good representation of who he is now, of like the way that he envisioned a part 2, because a part 2 could have been a million different things, especially with the fact that he made a part 2 to Clerks that never deserved a part 2. Shouldn't have had a part 2.
No.
But he made a second part to that, and it really fucking worked.
Yeah.
It's like one of the rare times that something like that actually came out and was like, I don't know if the first one's better, the second one's better, because they're different, but the storytelling in the second one seems just as silly, but more out there, but also more real.
And it's strange too, because it's like you have to talk about the whole universe to understand this, even just to understand one of the movies, because you got to be like, oh well, this character is actually because he did this, and then well, you learn about that in this, and you learn about that in that. So it's not just about the jokes, but like just to understand, because like the way Clerks, the way he was going with it, you could tell like these movies were supposed to just be connected by either, like I said, New Jersey or Jay and Silent Bob. But they had because he had started crafting these things. I think when he got to Dogma, he's like, "Oh shit, I have like something here," and so he's like, "Well, let me make it a culmination of that in Jay and Silent Bob, right? Like give them their own movie, right?" But I think Clerks 2 was supposed to be like this capping off of like, yeah, I did this whole like universe thing, and like look how long. I mean, it takes so long for me to make these because they don't want to invest it. Like, even though people go and see these movies, studios still don't want to invest in them for some reason. At like Red State, that movie, I think, did that even go to theaters?
I didn't see it in theaters.
I never saw it in theaters. I saw it. Well, I think I watched it with you, right? Tusk had a theatrical run, but that was like years after, like Cop Out. I think Clerks 2 was supposed to be like, this is it. I can't do another one, guys. This is supposed to be how this universe, like, it ends, right? And I think when he had his heart attack, it was kind of, he pulled like a Stephen King, and he's like, shit, I got to do one more, because it's like people want to know. They want to, like, I got to keep doing this stuff because people really want this, and that's why I think he's doing Clerks 3 still,
yeah. Well,
or he's working on it.
He's working on it.
But see, like, that's the thing is like he doesn't get enough, like, honestly, like with Red State and Tusk, I feel like he doesn't get enough like credit.
Yeah.
Because I think people saw Tusk and they were like, "What? This is weird."
Yeah, that's a different, because you got to remember that the movies he's most known for are the movies that he made like 2000 prior, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I'd say the first Jay and Silent, first of Jay and Silent Bob was like the cap of the Kevin Smith we knew.
Yeah.
Because he did try to go Hollywood.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work. Like, you could say it's because of him. You could say it's because of whatever. I just think the whole thing just didn't work. And you're right. Like, when he had Clerks 2, it was like, hey, guys, I still got it. It's just, they say that's not what people want. I know it's what you guys want. Whatever, right? But those movies, his like, maybe his third act movies, you could say, those movies were like crazy because it's not the Kevin Smith you think you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But it's still like, it still has like a weirdness that his movies always had.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I mean, we talked about it before, but like, you're right, with Red State and Tusk, they're two completely different movies that feel very similar. They're shot very similar, but they're not the same. But they're really good movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like for him, though, those movies he didn't give a shit about because he just wanted. I mean, Tusk was really the biggest, like, fuck yeah, I'm going to make that movie. It went from being just like, how can we make the most ridiculous thing? And then they're like, what if we actually did make the most ridiculous thing?
And honestly, Tusk isn't that bad. It's actually a pretty good movie.
I like Tusk.
Yeah.
But that version of Kevin Smith is a just completely different person. And I feel like this Jay and Silent Bob was a callback to just who he is as a person.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's done a lot of cool shit, and he's been there, he's done that. He has this expansive career. He's always going to be known. Like, that's what I thought was funny with the Chronicon, is he's always going to be known for being that Clerks guy, right?
Yeah.
But he's so far from that now, but he never forgets it. And I think that this movie was a good, like, ode to, like, hey, guys, this is just who I am, and thank you guys for, like, being a part of our lives.
Yeah.
Really. Because you were getting these characters from old movies, you know, like, did you think you were going to see Ben Affleck in here? No.
And as soon as he showed up, too, you're like, oh, shit, yeah. I forgot he worked with Ben Affleck for a while.
Yeah, and there was all this, like, stuff thrown in there, which can feel a little bit stuffed at times, but for the person who's been, like, for people like us who have been on this journey, who still hear that it's enjoyable, and it's not just because it's remember this movie, remember that, but it's also like, oh yeah, he does have a lot to say still.
Yeah.
Even though, like, he's not the same person he was in, like, 95, he still has something to say, something to do. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a good representation of just like what he is.
Yeah, and I feel like the Views universe is really more to, when you look at it, it's actually representative of him even more.
Yeah, this is, I honestly, if you're a fan of his, then this movie's for you. Straight up, this movie's meant for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's wrong, because it's the same if you were to say, oh, well, I don't like Marvel movies, so, like, that's just who I am. Well, then you're not going to go and say, well, that's good because you should watch the Aquaman. He's not Marvel. It's like, no, they're not going to fucking enjoy it.
No.
You can't just do that. But if you are a fan of the Marvel movies and someone's like, hey, if you want a fun, like, superhero movie, they have Shazam. Did you ever see it? Just watch it.
Yeah.
Because you know that even though they are different, they're very much the same. But with this movie, it's very different but the same, because you're getting these characters you've known since the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
But they're very different but very much the same.
Yeah.
And sure, some of the jokes are like, that's dumb. Okay, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But, like, as it's going, it's like, oh, I remember why I love these characters so much. I remember why I love this universe so much. I remember why I love Kevin Smith so much. And that's what you get with this movie. So, if you hate Kevin Smith, there's like a 90% chance you're going to hate this movie.
Yeah.
But hey, if you like a movie filled with different celebrities and, people are like, hey, I remember that person, you might enjoy it.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is backed hard.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it if you can. Where do you watch it?
I saw it on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, that's what it was. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
We know you ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
You're quarantined.
I see you there. All right, so since we have to be alone and by ourselves and solo and anyways, during quarantine, we thought we would recommend some things for you guys to like watch, maybe just like some movies, some TV show, because as we said earlier, we know you ain't got nothing to do. Right off the bat, a really good one. Actually, it's a whole like series of would be a Marvel movie. I know that's probably like like everybody probably recommends that, but honestly, I was watching Endgame and I was like, this movie, I can see why is one of the greatest movies of all time. This is honestly like I could sit, and even though it's a 3-hour plus movie, I could sit at any point and watch this movie. It tells you like that it's a great movie, but like even just like I was watching Far From Home and like I watched that like twice because like I feel like Marvel movies are just like the perfect type of movie just to sit there and be like, yeah, I guess I'll watch another one. Yeah, I guess I'll watch that one. Like they're just like so good.
And I mean, to be honest, why not kill some time, watch 20-something movies?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that would be pretty smart. And even if you aren't the hugest fan, I think if you start off with Iron Man and get all the way to the end, you might be invested in because you'll be like, you'll actually get the whole like, oh, that's a callback to that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. And who knows? Maybe it'll turn you into a bigger fan. Yeah. And you watch all 23 movies. You get to the end and you're like, yeah, it's not for me. Then you'll know. For sure, you'll know. And no one can tell you, well, did you actually see Guardians of the Galaxy? You can be like, yeah, I did. I don't like any of it. One for me is a show that I got into, Dom couldn't get into, but I feel like for being in times that we're in right now, right? You want to look towards the future and say things are going to get better, even if they have to get worse for a little bit. A show that I recommend is a show called The Expanse. It takes the human race, I would say to an extent, a more realistic future of like the human race and what have you, and it moves it on to it. We do go into space, but it's like I said, it's more realistic, so it takes place in our solar system. And the cool thing about The Expanse, which starts off, is that you get this feeling of like, yeah, this actually would make a lot of sense because you have Mars being almost its own planet separate from Earth because everything has been so outward now that Earth is the Beverly Hills of the solar system.
Okay.
And Mars is more like the working class LA, right? Where, yeah, they're still having to do a lot of shit, but they're probably tougher than most people in Beverly Hills. And then they also have, like they call them belters because now we're mining the asteroid belt and stuff like that. So there's colonies based off of like, you know, oh, this one and this one. And the cool thing about that is they also have their own language because it attracts like the more poor people. So in the future, these poor people took the chance to go out to space to mine and all this stuff. So their language is all like mismatched and everyone's kind of, I don't know. It's really cool. It's cool how they see the whole world, and it gives you hope that, hey, one day after this pandemic, you know, we're all gonna get together so we can explore the stars, and then we'll break up again.
Yeah.
But I know you're saying like that, whatever, right? But it does get into sci-fi stuff later on, which I really like because it builds up this like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I thought this was. It's 3 seasons, I think, right now. Could be 4. I can't remember.
I thought it was more.
I think it's either 3 or 4. I can't remember. The last one just came out. They have it on Amazon Prime, full 4K. I think if you want a good sci-fi experience, this is perfect.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more mature than you would get with like a Stargate, but I don't know. I think it's more digestible than all that. So, The Expanse.
One that I find myself anytime an episode is on. It doesn't matter what episode. Like I'm like, this show is hilarious every time. And the good thing is it's got 13 seasons. And it's all on Hulu right now. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's so many episodes, and like you forget that like certain things happen in certain episodes, and like as you're going through, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot about this or I forgot about that. Because I think it's perfect because it's like each like they're not that long of episodes, and you can just sit there and just continuously watch. Because I did like with the last season, I just sat there and like watched like a bunch of episodes because I was like, oh, you know what, I can watch one more. But It's Always Sunny is hilarious. I think that one is a pretty good one to watch right now.
Something I've been actually watching a lot of, Naked and Afraid. I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to watch Naked and Afraid? Especially in a time like this, it makes you think, hey, if times get bad, could I survive naked in the wilderness? And the answer is always, yeah, I could do that. In reality, no, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. But it is interesting. I think once you get over the naked part, I think that's the part that's supposed to bring people in is like, they're naked. But then when you start watching, you're like, why do they have to be naked?
Why are they naked?
I don't know. But once you get over the naked part, it's very entertaining. Sure, it's not as realistic as you think it is. If you ever, I'm pretty sure a lot of you would know, reality TV isn't always reality.
What?
But it is real in the fact that these people are naked out in these places and they're trying to do things. And the cool thing about this is, even though they might do similar things, like most of the time, they do kind of switch it up by, they'll be like, hey, we're going to have just this one girl by herself. Hey, we're going to do it shorter, but with two fans, people who, would never, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They do throw a lot of, like, they have the XL version of it now where they have, I think it's 14 people and it's 40 days, which is fucking ridiculous. I was actually just trying to get into it because I saw this video. I saw a commercial where this girl passed out, like face forward, and I wanted to see that, but I haven't got to it yet. But I will say that it is a good like filler, and especially in times like these where sometimes you don't want to sit and you don't want to watch. Well, I'm just gonna watch this whole season of Always Sunny, or I'm just gonna watch this whole movie. Sometimes you just want to have something on, and where you're paying attention to whatever, blah blah blah. And what if you're like, all right, I watched 2 seasons of Always Sunny. I want to take a break. This is a good like palate cleanser, if you will. Okay. And then, because that time, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but that's how I've been using it. They have like 11 seasons of the regular one, and then I think they have like 3 or 4 of the XL one, and then the regular version has like different parts of it. Like they did one where it's like, we're just gonna do 2 twins, or we're gonna do a group of like these twins and or like these people, and these people are just gonna randomly meet up. Like they do throw a lot of weird shit like that. And I will say, like, there'll be times where I'll be like, I'm way more invested than I should be. So I know it's not as cinematic as The Expanse or as hilarious as Always Sunny, but I will say that it is very entertaining. So Naked and Afraid, if you get the chance.
Maybe now's your chance to watch all the Star Wars. I mean, most of them are all on Disney Plus anyways. I think they're all except for, is Rise of Skywalker on there?
Not yet.
Not yet, right? But I think they're all the rest of them are on there, and then you have.
You could wait till it comes on, and you can watch every single Star Wars.
Yeah, because they also have all the Clone Wars, which just came out with the new season, and then they have all of Rebels and Resistance. They have all that shit on there, so you could literally sit there and watch the whole history of Star Wars from beginning to end just on Disney Plus.
And then if you're like, I did watch a lot of Star Wars, but I wish I could just have just a little bit more. You could watch Phineas and Ferb Star Wars.
Yeah, because it does fit into it.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars, like I said, that's something that you could take your time with because if you want to, you could look up like how to watch all the Star Wars canon, right?
Yeah.
So you could watch, episode 1, 2, the Clone Wars, and then TV series and 3, and you know what I mean? Like, you could do all that. You could, you could break it up of like, oh, I'll watch this one, then I'll watch the cartoon. You know what I mean? Just, you have time. You have time. Disney Plus is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're not sponsored.
Yeah, might as well just knock it all out. Yeah, that's pretty good. One thing that I'm going to rewatch, haven't done it yet, Lord of the Rings. Even being as old as those movies are, when they do come on, and I'll like you do, like when something comes on, I'll just watch it for a little bit. Sometimes I'll finish it. I'm like, you know what? For being as old as it is, it doesn't look bad. And what the Lord of the Rings movies do really well is they make you feel caught up in the fantasy. As sometimes where I feel like you're watching like a Game of Thrones, right? Where it's based in this like fantasy world. But sometimes you're watching it and it gets really fucking boring. And you're just like, could you guys shut the fuck up? Where are the dragons? Don't they have dragons somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, can I see something cool? And whatever. Maybe that's what you like. Maybe you like to be boring. I don't care. But Lord of the Rings, at least from all my past times watching it, it's always been like captivating in a way.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I haven't watched yet, but I'm going to
pretty good one to
rewatch it.
watch.
I mean, to be honest, there's a lot that you could technically binge watch. I mean, if you're a boring basic bitch, you're going to be like, well, I already saw Friends and I already saw The Office. I guess I'll just rewatch them again.
God damn it.
Sure, if that's how boring you are,
I'll be a little bit spicy. I'll watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah. If that's how boring you are, sure. But I will say this one thing. Is give things a try you wouldn't normally give. There's a lot that is out there now that maybe you wouldn't think about watching, but hey, this has 3 seasons. I could be invested in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Or hey, this movie kind of ties into other things that I like. Why not give it a shot? Sure, there's most likely there are going to be things you don't like, but you never know what you'll find if you don't give a chance.
Yeah.
And, saying this normally would be hard because most people are in a routine, if you will, where the time that they're allotted to do this, they're like, yeah, but I could just rewatch Friends again. And it's like boring. But now I'm pretty sure you're almost all the way through with Friends again. And you just watched
disgusting.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, rewatch it again. And you hate that 8th season.
Did you sit there with your mayonnaise sandwich?
Exactly. So you're probably already bored, right? Why not give something else a chance? Why not, expand your mayonnaise sandwich with maybe just add a little bit of cheese or a little bit of ham. You might like it.
Yeah.
And maybe that little bit of ham and cheese accents your mayonnaise in a way that you never thought it could.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, hopefully, you stop putting so much goddamn mayonnaise in a sandwich. Well, you'll never know till you try. So that's really that should be something you should do. These are just suggestions of give it a try. You might like it. I'm not okay with this. 7 episodes. Give it a try. You might like it.
Perfect. It's like the perfect bingeable show.
Yeah. You like it. You're like, hey, this intrigues me. End of the fucking world. 2 seasons. Same thing. Why not give it a try? A lot of us have a lot of time now. So this would be the chance to live by a motto that we've been living by for a long time. And it's not that bad.
Yeah, most things are not as bad as they say. The internet says a lot of dumb things about certain things. I'm not specifically talking about specific things, but they say a lot of dumb things about certain things. They'll write things off and they'll be like, you know what the only good things in this world are The Office, Friends, Game of Thrones. And it's like, what? No, there's like way better shows than that. Community and Parks and Rec and Westworld. It's like because like they dared to do something different than what your normal like these cookie cutter shows that you continue to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just end it like that. But like I said, be a little bit more spicy. Give that movie that you passed on like 18 times, just give it a watch. Who knows, right? You might like it.
Yeah.
Hey, and maybe there's a movie that you thought you hated. Rewatch it. Maybe you might like it.
Just don't go outside.
Yeah. We're trying to tell you, just stay inside.
There's things to watch inside.
Yeah. But also listen to, like this podcast. So
yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Of course.
We appreciate it as always.
Yes.
And if you want to go ahead and give us a follow on any of your streaming services, please do. We are on YouTube too, so there's going to be a link in the show description. Give that a follow. Or you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter. That's INTB_podcast. You can email us directly at INTBpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And let us know. Do you stream anything?
Yeah. Or are you so against it that you read book? What do they call it? Books? I don't know.
Books, I think.
Or what are your suggestions for binging during this trying time of the coronavirus?
Do you like Kevin Smith? Have you seen Jay and Silent Bob Reboot?
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Did you hate it? Did you love it? Were you like...
Probably hate it.
They probably hate it. Or were you like, you know what? It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, right? Yeah, just whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about this virus and how it's driving you crazy, sure, go ahead. Leave us a comment.
Yeah.
A DM, message, email, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. Just stay the fuck inside. That's all you got to do, guys.
Yep.
But until then, as always, remember,
it's not that bad.
It's not that